Deal for Bryan Mbeumo is done, and he is here at Manchester United, and is actually flying to the United States of America for the preseason tour, and that is good news. But I'm going to be giving you guys 5 things that you guys should be expecting from Bryan Mbeumo for Manchester United. One thing is for sure. We looked at him. We went for him for so long. We literally went for him for 7 months. And now he's finally here at Manchester United. And these are the things that we need to expect. These are the things that we should expect from what Bryan Mbeumo can bring to Manchester United. And it is going to be ridiculous based on what it is. And United fans usually focus on the likes of goals and assists, but Bryan Mbeumo's impact goes far deeper. It goes far deeper than just goals and assists. And so here are 5 things and 5 ways he will transform Manchester United's midfield and attack beyond obvious numbers that we absolutely can talk about. The 20 goals, the 8 assists. That's what we are going to focus on today. So without further ado, let's get this party started and let's get into this. First things first, his unrelenting pressing and elite work rate. Mbeumo won possession. I want you guys to understand this. Mbeumo won possession in the final third 32 times. 32 times last season, ranking him amongst the top 3 for value turnovers. He is also logged at one of the highest total distances covered, attempted sprint, and only 2 Premier League players topped his work rate. Let me say this. The only player that I believe topped his work rate is actually Bruno Guimaraes. But this is a player that 32 times he basically got a turnover in the final third. Basically, the final third for the attacking side. So you're absolutely going to press. And if there's one thing we know about Ruben Amorim, he wants the defense to start in the front. He wants a front foot defending kind of pattern, and that is what we are going to be getting from Bryan Mbeumo. It is truly magnificent how hardworking he is. It is. What we have seen Thomas Frank turn Bryan Mbeumo into is a beast when it comes to pressing from the front. And he knows how to do it. That's why that position of Amadia and Bryan Mbeumo on the right hand side will be absolutely lethal for a lot of people. Because Ama just knows and has the knack of going to get the ball or understanding when it's a heavy touch, when it's a heavy push off, when it's a heavy, kind of reach. He knows when to go get those balls. He knows how to pounce. And Bryan is just as good at that. 32 times he basically got a turnover that could have turned out to be a goal or an opportunity. That's how good he is going in terms of the defensive part of the pitch. And then you look at the attempted sprints. He has one of the highest attempted sprints in the Premier League. That's to tell you that he's a willing runner. He's always going to keep on running, whether it is for loose balls or a true pass or even a loose, an opportunity for him to actually get the ball off an opponent. He's going to keep on running, and that is the brilliance of what Bryan brings to Manchester United. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see him in the position. Of course, we know he's taking the number 19, so same number, just a different club. And I hope he kind of works well with that position and with that situation. Second thing about this situation is lightning explosiveness and direct carrying. That is one thing that Bryan Mbeumo will be bringing to Manchester United. We had a tough time last season, especially when our quickest player left to Aston Villa, Marcus Rashford. Now he's at Barcelona, which is absolutely great. But we had a problem in transitional attacks. We just did not have the pace for us to even carry the ball or the pace for us to attack when it comes to counter-attacks after kind of transitional attacking situation. We had a problem with that because Rasmus Højlund is very, very fast. But the people around Rasmus was not fast. Those were just not fast. Anthony, not fast. Garnacho, not really fast. Bruno, not really fast. But when it comes to Bryan Mbeumo is going to be boasting the fourth fastest record speed in the league for 36.63 kilometers per hour. Mbeumo led the Premier League with 9 carries over 5 meters that directly resulted in goals. His ability to drive past defenders will stretch opposition backlines and open the space for teammates. Now that's the situation there. I had to read that for you because I had to kind of with a line in terms of me to focus on. But the truth about this situation is, Bryan Mbeumo, when it comes to his explosiveness, his ability to run, his honest yards, it is magnificent. 63.63 kilometers per hour. That's how fast this dude was running. That's the fastest that I think he actually in the Premier League last season. So Manchester United are also going to be having the threat of transitions again. And that was one thing that we were able to use to defeat the likes of Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea in the past. With Marcus Rashford honestly having the highest amount of goals, I believe, with the top 6 teams. The big 6 teams, basically. Those transitional moments was what absolutely made us stand out in those games. And Bryan Mbeumo is bringing it back to Manchester United. And another thing that we are not talking about or haven't really focused on in this segment is the direct carrying. In my notes, basically, in my research, it basically says Mbeumo led the Premier League with 9 carries over 5 meters that directly resulted in goals. 9 of them, over 5 carries. Over 5 meters, I'm sorry. That is one thing that we know for sure that Ruben Amorim wants. We saw it with Trincao at Sporting. We saw it with Giovanni Kenda at Sporting. And now we are going to be seeing it with Bryan Mbeumo, Manchester United. That's what we are going to be seeing. And it's absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to see it. This is the same thing that we can see with Matheus Cunha. So we understand what Manchester United are basically recruiting for. We can basically put 2 and 2 when it comes to the attributes that we want in a player. And that is what Bryan Mbeumo is going to give. Now, the third this particular one is that Bryan Mbeumo is a clinical finisher above expectations. On an expected goals figure of 12.3, Bryan Mbeumo scored 20 times, outperforming his XG by 7.7 goals. His 23.53% shot conversion was only bettered by Mohamed Salah and Alexander Isak, among top scorers in the Premier League. This is honestly proof that he can turn half chances into match-winning moments. Let me speak about that. And we need to focus on this situation because a lot of people focus on the fact that when a player overperforms his XG, it is hard for them to actually repeat that, especially in the coming season. But we have seen it happen with Mohamed Salah and Harry Kane, where definitely a flash in the pan, and then 3 seasons later, they're doing the same thing, scoring 20 goals. And then we're like, okay, yes, they're just that good. And that's what I believe Bryan Mbeumo is going to be. That is what I believe he's going to bring to Manchester United. He might not score 20 goals, but I believe he has 15 in him. I believe he has 17 in him. And that is because he's sharing the wealth. He also contributes when it comes to assists. So the beautiful thing about this situation is that Bryan Mbeumo will be so clinical and he will be able to convert half chances, which we were so bad at last season in converting. The only person that did anything when it came to that situation was Bruno Fernandes. Half chances were just never going in for Manchester United last season. That's why we had 44 goals in the entire season. Bryan Mbeumo coming in honestly understands how to convert half chances. He buys himself. He literally backs himself in doing that accurately, and definitely something that he would definitely do at Manchester United. So that is definitely exciting to think about. Now, in the fourth one is he's a creative playmaker under the radar. He is so creative. Creative playmaker under the radar. While he's a proven scorer, Mbeumo has ranked 4th in big chances created, which he gave 17 chances last season. And total goal creating action was 20 chances. Oh my God. His 9.26 expected assist led the league, showing he can unlock rigid defenses with clever passes, dribbles, and fouls drawn in the final third. That is what are you guys understanding how great of a signing this is? How good of a signing this is? It's not from anywhere. This is a really talented player. This is somebody that is going to absolutely give us a ton of upgrades in the entire lineup. His presence alone will make Bruno better. His presence alone will make Cunha better, Xerxes better, Rasmus better, Ahmad better. That is what Mbeumo will bring. He is a playmaker, an underrated playmaker, might I add. Because the truth about it is, a lot of people do not look at Bryan Mbeumo and says, yes, he's going to unlock a defense. But he basically had the highest rating. He had the highest big chances created, or the 4th highest. Of course, the highest is probably Bruno Fernandes. And we have those two players at Manchester United. That's why I'm saying the creation is not going to be a problem for Manchester United. We just need somebody to finish the dinner. We need somebody to finish the goal. And hopefully, if Manchester United can go into the market and get a striker, that would absolutely get things done. Now we cannot get Eresh or Victor Osimhen because they are basically going to Arsenal and Galatasaray respectively. But we can definitely go get Mateta. We can go get Mateta, and because of his physicality, that would be a true mismatch for a lot of defenses. A lot of defenses. You have the hold-up play of Mateta, you have the running in behind of Cunha, and then you have the ability to break deep line passes from Bruno Fernandes and Kobbie Mainoo. That is going to be magical, man. I'm telling you, it is going to be magical in terms of a duo, a tandem of how they can basically bring Manchester United back to the top line, on the top flight. And last but not the least, the 5th thing that we can learn and we should expect from Bryan Mbeumo is that tactically, he is a tactical chameleon offering positional flexibility. Let me repeat that. He is a tactical chameleon offering positional flexibility. He is so comfortable on either wing, left or right, as a number 10 behind the main striker, or in a fluid 3. Mbeumo brings versatility to Ruben Amorim's system. That unpredictability will force opponents to adjust on the fly, creating mismatches in United's favor. Let me say this. Let me just basically speak on this particular summary that I created. I just put together. This situation is going to be a really good one. Why is that? Because Matheus Cunha can play the number 9 position. Bryan Mbeumo can play the number 9 position. And if Manchester United are bringing in the likes of Mateta, who would be my next target as a striker, we are going to be seeing a rotation that people would not be able to keep up with. That is one thing that I'm telling you. The rotation would not be able to be kept up with because Matheus Cunha can go to the left, which is where he prefers, and kind of into the right. Mbeumo can go to the right and the left, depending on whatever the defense kind of do. And Mateta can drop in. It is going to be a magical trio. The goals, the assists, the creation from this trio will be lethal. Now, Manchester United is not even... I'm not hearing anything coming out about Manchester United going in for Mateta because it is going to be expensive. I think Mateta might be going for around £50 million. But to me, I think that might just be the right move to do. That might just be the right move to do. Manchester United need to get into the market. We need to make sure that we can leave the bottom half of the Premier League. We should never be there again. But one thing that I can assure you guys for sure is that Manchester United will not be at 15th place next season. At the end of next season, Manchester United will not be at the bottom half of the Premier League. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if we brought value to you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Now let's go for preseason because it's going to be exciting. Peace.